This week on This Too Shall Pass, next big life change that's going on is that we have moved. Everyone moves every day, every month of the week, and it's just a phase of life. Mine is different. I actually bought a multi-family generational home with my parents. It is purposefully, on just about 2 acres, large enough for my kids to play and have birthday parties and run around. We bought a home purposefully that has a split floor plan. So it was all intentional. I'm not like some broke ass bitch that just took my kids to my parents' house because I needed a break. We moved there with the intent of living there long term. I put in $50,000 towards closing and realtor fees, and they put in their half. So we met 50-50 on closing. I've paid half of the mortgage for almost 3 years, and that's where we lived. That was our home. Because I don't know who's listening, but the intention is not to drag my parents down or talk bad about them. The fact is just to tell the truth. They woke up one day and the mood had just changed. Welcome to the This Too Shall Pass podcast. Trust me, I know life can be. This is an inclusive space for our stories and lessons to be heard and learned from without judgment, because this too shall pass. Hi guys, welcome back to This Too Shall Pass. It is me again, Ariel. Like we always start off the episodes, I love to ask you guys, how are you? How are you doing? What has changed for you? Because this episode is going to be a life update on me and currently where me and my kids are in the phase of life that we're lifing through. So I like to always open up the episodes asking you guys, how are you feeling? How are you adjusting? Anyone started Christmas shopping yet? If not, you're not alone, because I have not either. But like I said, this episode will be a life update on me. But if you are watching on YouTube, thank you. Please remember to subscribe and leave a comment, as well as on Apple Podcast or wherever you're streaming, or follow us here on Instagram as well. And my user handle is @the_Ariel_B_, and it will all be under this show in the show notes, how to find us, where you can leave a comment, a question. I love the questions. If you guys can leave me anonymous questions, maybe about your situation or somebody else's situation that you care about, just wanting, a different opinion. Sometimes we don't always have the biggest friend group or village in person, and sometimes it's good to get a second opinion. And maybe I'll shoot you guys some questions that I have too, and hopefully you guys can answer me in the comments or give me your opinion or your thoughts or how you would handle it. So before we get started, I do want to start off with her voice, her story. And I don't even know if they're all hers, but we're going to wrap it all together. And I'm going to say my IG paid subscribers. So I know a lot of people have different feelings about this. Some people have said, oh, you were showing everything for free before. Why has it changed? It's changed because my life has changed. My circumstances have changed. My kids have changed, and I have changed. We have recently had to move very quickly. And it's not easy. And I also paid subscribers, if you ever joined on my Instagram and clicked join subscription, it will give you the waiting list option, because I do personally then get the opportunity to see who's able to watch me, because I do talk about personal issues with myself, my kids, what I'm going through in my community. I do like to know who's watching me. I'm not going to accept no matter amount of the money. I'm never going to accept someone that has a blocked page or, a Nazi flag, or because nosy people will still pay to watch. But if I feel like I can have any ounce of control on this wild world of social media, I'm still going to do so. I do want you to know that I will still be posting my regular reels and stories and my post, and that is free to everyone. But when I'm sitting down having a really hard and personal day and I just want to vent, I would feel a little bit more safe knowing who it's going to. And I wanted to shout out my paid IG subscribers because, like I said, we are moving. And they begged me to do an Amazon moving wish list. I did not want to, A, because I'm probably a little prideful. B, I kind of always get an icky feeling in my stomach to ask strangers to help me for items with my kids that I chose to give birth to. It always gave me a weird feeling. I mean, I felt like I should have like a little panhandling cup shaking it around, because that's how it made me feel personally. But I got hundreds of messages of people saying, even if we just bought a set of towels or a washcloth or a loofah, anything. So after considering it for a little bit, because we packed up the first 2 days on our own, we had no moving truck. It was really just me and my kids, some hefty garbage bags, and a lot of hard work, sweat, and intuition to get us to where we were going. I did, with time, create an Amazon wish list. The way you guys showered and poured over me and my kids, the blessings that you provided us with, saying thank you is not good enough. Saying I appreciate it is not good enough. I wish I had a better vocabulary to tell you honestly how I feel, but it instantly brought me to tears. It was nice to know that even though I didn't get the support I thought I would get from the village that is related to me, like from your parents or your brother, it was nice to know that my biological family stepped up. We're not trying to replace anyone or like X people out. I'm just trying to move on to have the best clarity to possibly in the future have a better relationship. Our lives are just not coinciding right now. They're not working well under the same roof. And just like you guys think that I deserve peace and ease and a happy setting for my kids, in the bottom of my heart, I also do want that for my parents. I do still want them to be happy. I want them to be comfortable. I want them to have peace and, enjoy their older years of life. And sometimes that does not coincide with raising rowdy kids that are up early and stay up late and like to paint. And my parents' kids are grown. So maybe they're just in a season of life where they don't want to raise kids anymore. And that still has to be okay. I think everyone deserves peace, even if them choosing peace put us in a hard place. I do still think they deserve peace. And that should be something that's available to everyone. It just put us in a hard place. It's 30 days before Christmas. As much as I'd love to sit here and say, my kids will be good with just getting a rug, a lamp, and their beds made, they won't. Will they say it's okay? Yes. But in their little children's hearts, in the bottom of their heart, would they be okay Christmas morning just knowing they got a pillow and a rug? Probably not. And if we put ourselves back as to being children in middle school, especially elementary school, Erin's in 3rd grade. I know in her heart, she still wants that doll set. She still really wanted that coloring book. Will she say it's okay because she sees I'm sad and she knows we're moving and everything's up in the air and she found her cereal bowl in a U-Haul box underneath the sink this morning? She'll say it's okay. But I know in her heart, she probably did, still want that Barbie set. So when you guys took your time to bless me and my kids and buy us normal things like forks, set of plates, a rug. There was countless things on there. A plunger. I have 5 kids. A plunger was a godsend. You might overlook it, but that was the first thing I opened and the first thing I put together was the plunger. Why? Because I have a 3-year-old who thought when he needed to wipe his ass that he needed half of the wad of double-ply toilet paper to do this little turd. And then he flushed it confidently and it came back at me. So whoever sent me that plunger, you are at the top of my prayer list because I used it this morning. Before I came here, I plunged the toilet. So I just wanted to be honest and humble and transparent and say that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to still need help. And it's okay to, for a moment, if someone asks you to put your pride down and let them bless you, let them love on you. Someone told me in the comments that this was their opportunity. They've been asking God that if they could bless someone with something before Christmas, they would like to do it, or before Thanksgiving, they would like to do it. So to know that their blessings was, I think I put a Bible on there. I think that was the first thing bought. I really appreciate it. I didn't have one. I use the Bible app on my phone, but I know that I'm really trying in 2024 to get more of an intimate relationship with God and know that this life, as much as I would like it to go my way, does not. And we have to be mindful of that. I have to know that our lives are already ordained by a higher power, and I need to be more cautious of that. And if I learn more and educate myself more about the Bible and God and just religion as a whole, then that's something that'll be more easy and fluent for me to teach my children. It's hard for me to teach them something that I'm not afraid to say that I'm probably a little ignorant about. I know all of the big Bible verses that everyone has talked about, but like the intimate details and the facets of the Bible, I don't know. So it would be nice for me to, bring that Bible to church. And was it something I couldn't have got for myself? I probably could have, but will I buy a Bible for myself over toothpaste and toothbrushes for my kids? Probably not. I'll buy the toothpaste and the toothbrush first because they need it. They need it tomorrow. They need it today when we brushed our teeth. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I'm trying my best not to cry. That's why I keep taking pauses. I don't think you guys really understand how much of an ease and a transition it was to not have to dig for plates or dig for a fork or, eat off of paper plates for 2 months. So I appreciate that. That is who I want to shout out this morning. And like I said, I know they're probably not all female, even though our title is Her Voice, Her Story. I really appreciate you guys as a whole and coming together for me and my kids. I won't forget it. I'm going to go ahead and read one Apple review before we get started. It is from One Love 719. She said, love listening to your episodes. I've listened to them all so far. Thank you. The one with your children was my favorite so far. I think it's great that you include them. You ask them great questions. They had great responses. It sounds like you are doing a great job, Ariel, and I think you should know that. Your son, too, made me tear up. And I loved his vulnerability and realness he gave. I can relate to some aspects, and I cannot wait to continue to listen to what is still to come. You're doing great. Thank you so much. Again, the username that left this message was OneLove719. Yeah, vulnerability with my kids. I think it's something you guys like or enjoy looking at because it's maybe not that normal. And I know it wasn't normal for me. I was very much so raised, a child to be seen and not heard. There's a children's table, go sit over there. Or, as us moms, we get frustrated and sometimes we yell, everyone, shut the fuck up. No one ever wants to hear their children or hear their opinions or hear their thoughts. And I've tried as best as I can to always make sure my kids had a voice. That voice is not always positive. That voice is not always kind. But I do want to make sure that they have a voice and it is heard in whatever fashion or facet it comes out at that moment. I'd rather take the time to correct them and say, hey, we could have said that a little nicer, or hey, that was a little mean, or hey, don't say that right now, rather than making them feel like they have to be quiet at all times and not give me their real opinion. There are plenty of times when we go somewhere, I tell them, hey, soak it all in and let me know your true opinions when we get back in the car. Because I don't want them to say, dang, it's stinking here. Or, oh, did you see that lady's, dress? Or I don't like your food. They're still their opinions and they still want to say them. Sometimes I'll just make them tell me when we get back in the car so we're not judged out loud or outside in public. But they do always give me their opinions and I do appreciate it. It gets harder when they get older because then their opinions are more detailed. Like, I don't like how you spoke to me, instead of I really wanted to go outside. As they get older and they develop more, their brains develop more, their vocab grows, sometimes their opinion is hurtful, but it's still their opinion. Something I've started new at home is it's a little shoebox and has a cut hole in it. Think of the 90s Valentine's Day boxes from back in the day. You used to bring them to school and all your friends give you their little Valentine's Day cards. And on the front of this little shoebox, it says, I love you, Mom, but, and then it has 3 dots after it. So that's to let them know, or to let me know that I know they love me, and to let them know that I know they love me, but they have a critique, or but they'd like to say something. They don't have to write their name on it. They think that makes it anonymous because they haven't written their name on it. But as a mom, their handwriting, so I know exactly who it came from. And I know Terrell cannot spell because he doesn't put the E on the end. So I already know who it came from, but it gives them some, they think no one knows who it is if they put it in there. So I've gotten a lot of crucial critiques as a mom. Nothing to cry home about, but there's some that's like, hey, I don't like how you spoke to me when someone broke your vase. It really wasn't me. And there's some that's like, hey, it was me that colored on the wall, but I didn't mean to. My paper moved and I won't do it again. So it's just little moments that I think they don't feel comfortable maybe saying it out loud to the group. The group is all of the kids because then all of the kids can give their opinion. But it gives them a time to come back to me in silent or in private and just tell me their thoughts. Because when you yell who did it, it's almost natural to lie. It's natural for everyone to say, was it me? But damn it, there's only 6 of us here and I didn't do it. So one of y'all did it and everyone will say not me. So it's nice sometimes when I get those little messages that says it was me. I did this, or I dropped this, but I was too nervous to say it, or, oh, I know you were really mad, or, oh, I know that was really important to you and I didn't know how to say it. So that's something new that we've started. I enjoy it. I don't read it every day. Usually I try to do it on the weekends or Sunday before I go to church so I can pray about it and not be my maddest self when, you get the honest truth. But my kids' honesty is probably something I hold near and dear to my heart. It's something I know I didn't feel like I had a big voice as a child. I really felt like children were less than adults. They are less than, but only financially. But I really do think and know your children have feelings. They're gonna fall in love. They have opinions. They have likes and dislikes. And it's just how it goes. They are people. And I try my hardest not to live through my children. I just try to let us all live together, and hopefully we can keep a lot of love and consistency along the way if no one feels shamed for being themselves. So, like I stated in the beginning, this episode is a life update, and I want to chime in and say I'm sorry for the pause. You'll probably hear that in another episode. Maybe that just means I'm really sorry, but life has been lifing for everyone involved. And I think that's okay sometimes. And it's okay for people to get busy and schedules overlap and no one holds a grudge and no one is upset. We are trying our best. I am trying my best, but I am moving with 5 kids and it is a lot and everyone has a lot going on. But I hope you do have a good and happy holiday season. Even if that's not as big or it's different, as long as there's happiness and peace and you do it around a table and setting where people love you and the feelings are consistent, I think you deserve that. So here we go. Topic is just life update. We're going to go over moving and we're going to go over trial. Trial is today. Let me check my phone so I don't tell you the wrong date. November 20th. I start trial today. I'm going to start with that. This trial is against my ex-husband. My ex-husband is the father of my youngest 3 children. And we were married for a while, but we've only been divorced. Owen's 3, so we've been divorced 4.5, almost 5 years. I did double back. I hope you can do your math, and I can tell you my truths that I did go back. I wasn't that confident in myself, and I went back. We did what adults do, and Owen is here. So, yeah. Talk about it if you want, but that's my truth, and I'm not going to lie to you in saying leaving a domestic violence relationship or any relationship at all is easy. The trial today is because he is actively on probation for what happened to me. As I've told you guys in a previous episode, go find it. I'll leave it in the show notes of which one I'm talking about, where I was assaulted by my ex-husband while carrying Owen. I was pregnant at the time. For that case, they did not give him jail time. He had to pay a little bit of restitution to me and to the apartment complex because my windows were broken. There were some personal properties that were, disturbed or taken or broken at the time. So there was a financial obligation on that end. And then he also got 5 years of probation for the physical crime of placing his hands in an object on me. So probation, basically in a nutshell, means they're watching you without jail time and you cannot get in trouble anymore for that time period. And I think trouble is anything like a speeding ticket. Like you're not supposed to have any interactions with the law or be in trouble. You're supposed to be a monk, be a ghost, go to work, pay your bills, and that's it. Because violating probation puts you back in jail. And I did learn from the state attorney's office, when you violate probation, they do not just give you the time that you have left. So say you had 5 years probation, you got in trouble after 2 years, so you think that you're just going to go to jail for the last 3. They actually restart your time and you get the full 5 in jail. You don't just get the last 3. That was news to me. I just thought, if you've done the first half good, you only do the last half in jail. But trial today is because, unfortunately, with his time on probation, instead of being a monk, like I told you, and just keeping your head low, doing what you got to do. You can grind, you can work, you can, still take vacations. You got to, you do have to check in with your probation officer, and you do have to, your piss has to be clean, but you don't have to sit in a metal box with strangers and get outside time. With his free time, instead of doing those things, he decided to get twisted up in some other things. And because trial does start today, I don't want to say too much because I don't know how it's going to go. But I do know that someone else in the course of him being out has been physically harmed by him again. I can say that the person is not a female. And I can say, because it's public record already, that person was labeled permanently disfigured. I don't know exactly what that means. I have to go to trial and figure out what that means. For me, when I looked it up, it says that person will never, the definition said that person that was harmed will either never be the same again or is now considered disabled. And that was the definition per Florida law for being charged with permanent disfigurement of a person. So that person is either missing some body parts or that person is going to be considered disabled for the rest of their life. But either way, it's terrible. Either way, it's something that has to be fixed. So that is the trial that starts today. The only reason that I am involved is for 2 reasons. One, the violation of probation was triggered on my case, my original domestic violence. So they have to reopen my case to see if they can charge him a VOP, violation of probation, for my case. And then secondly, they have to charge him for the incident that happened with the new person. Now, the incident that happened with the new person, Some people can say I did the right thing. Some people can say I did the wrong thing. I know in my gut, I wish I could just stay out of it and nothing involves me at all. But I did make an anonymous 911 call that wasn't that anonymous because they can track your numbers and lay your voice over it and personally identify you. I dialed 911 because after the incident happened, he decided that he felt safe enough to call me and and hide in my house and bathe in my house. So I got a quick couple-minute phone call. He's panicking, just screaming, I need a shower, just real quick, and then I'm going to leave. That's red flags to me. A, I don't know what you did. B, I want nothing to be involved with it. You haven't seen your kids in a year, and the only time you called me was to shower off the blood of someone else in their bathtub at 1 a.m. No. I have a good job. My mother works for the government. You're going to get everyone tied up. I also was thinking like, oh, what if they're following you? Like, what if their friends are following you because you beat up someone that I don't know? But I'm just thinking, a lot of guys roll in a pack. If something happened and their friend's down, how do I know they're not following you to my house where I have my innocent children sleeping? And now we're all in the crossfires for something that you did that doesn't involve us. So my issue is that I dialed 911. I hope that it was really anonymous like they tell you, but it is not anonymous. It is not. The state attorney's office actually played my voice recording right in front of me and looked at me to see if I would lie and say, we're going to subpoena you to trial. I mainly called because we still have an active restraining order. He's not allowed at my property unless it is like a birthday party, Christmas, or kids gathering. He's not allowed at my home alone. Like my parents or friends or other people have to be there because I have been physically assaulted by him before. None of those things were present. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. You can't say you were coming for the kids because they had all been asleep since 8:30. And you were covered in blood and just screaming that you're coming over. Whether I said yes or no, you were going to come over. And that made me feel very uncomfortable. I didn't know what had happened or who it had happened to. I just knew that I didn't want to be involved. So I called the cops just in case he did end up coming, which he did not. But because I did that, it laced me up in his new case as well. And that is what trial begins for today. Sadly, I know that he will be present in shackles with his family and friends and supporters and homeboys. And it's going to be just me. And I'm just going to pray about it and keep going. Someone did mention that I should say Psalms 91 before I go in there, and I'm going to definitely do that. I know trial will be over by the time you guys see this, but I do want to say thank you to all the support for everyone who's messaged me kind words. I'm not doing anything special. I'm telling the truth. And hopefully I won't be shamed or drugged down for that. And if it's happened to me and now it's happened to somebody else, with time and with age, you have to be personally responsible for what you do and what you cause other people. And the next big life change that's going on is that we have moved. I know you guys might be like, oh my God, Ariel, why are you talking about you're moving? Everyone moves every day, every month of the week. And, it's just a phase of life. Mine is different. I actually bought a multi-family generational home with my parents. It is purposefully, on just about 2 acres, large enough for my kids to play and have birthday parties and run around. We bought a home purposefully that has a split floor plan. Two sides of the house are completely different with all living quarters there. And the only shared area is the kitchen and the laundry room. But on both sides of the house have a living room. Both sides of the house have a patio. Both sides of the house have bathrooms and separate bedrooms and separate entrances. So it was all intentional. I'm not like some broke ass bitch that just took my kids to my parents' house because I needed a break. We moved there with the intent of living there long term. I put in $50,000 towards closing and realtor fees, and they put in their half. So we met 50-50 on closing. I've paid half of the mortgage for almost 3 years, and that's where we lived. That was our home. So the drama is that, and I say this with love, and I try to always say it with love because I don't know who's listening, but the intention is not to drag my parents down or talk bad about them. The fact is just to tell the truth. They woke up one day and the mood had just changed. And it had been happening for a while. I can see where it was getting worse and worse. They just don't want to live with kids anymore. And I moved in with 5 kids and we're moving out with 5 kids. So it's not like I moved in with 1 and had 4 there, expecting them to get comfortable with it. I moved out with the same amount of kids that I moved in with, but we're just overlapping in issues that aren't cohesive or positive to raise kids in. My parents still see me as their child, which I love. I would hope that the love and consistency and support would still be there as a child, but usually it's laced with a lot of cursing verbiage, a lot of telling my kids, oh, I don't give a fuck what your mom said. It's laced with a lot of, this is my house and my rules, even though we all paid to live there. So I guess it circles back to that saying, too many chefs in the kitchen. I hate that we were pushed out, but at the same time, I know with time, possibly this can be the best thing for us. A lot of people has asked, why doesn't your parents just move? It's a 5-bedroom house with this amount of bathrooms, with an acre and a pool. Your kids would enjoy it. They would. Did I bring up that option? Yes. Was I told no? Yes. So either my parents are going to sell the property and we're all homeless, or we get out. But either way, they were never going to leave that home for us. And my parents are the type of parents that they think equal is fair instead of fair just being situational. And I'll say that by saying, you know, God forbid if something happened to me and I knew Andre had a car and Haley did not, more than likely I would leave Haley my car because Andre has one. My parents would leave no one the car and just split the money and everyone gets the money instead of the item. So I did bring it up that I didn't think it was fair that if, God forbid, something happens to my parents, we would have been put out of the property anyways. My parents had already wrapped that property into their will, stating that that home was to be left to me and my 2 younger brothers that we don't have a relationship with, even though my 2 younger brothers are married with their own property. So you can see where they wouldn't have an interest in the property because they have a home. Me and my kids would have an interest in it because it is our home. We do live there. Our beds are there. That's where all of our mail goes. It's where we lived for 3 years. So whether I liked it or not, eventually we would have had to move because I would have either had to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to my brothers to buy them out their portion of the property, or we would move and the financial assets of that property that it's gained over the time will be split amongst the 3 of us. My parents didn't consider that I'm the only one that paid, the closing fees and deposit to get into the house. I'm the only one that's been paying half the mortgage for 3 years. If something was to happen to them, me and my kids have to move and legal allegations will come in and we will have to all split a house a third between me and my brothers, even though they have no financial input in the situation. There has been some physical instances between my parents and my kids. My dad is from a different generation. I know he used to do this a lot with my brothers, the yelling in the face and the bumping of the chest and you think you're a man? Try me. You think you're a man? It's odd because you tell your kids to try you and you bump up against them and you push them, but if they hit you or really do something, then you're still going to be mad. So it's like a lose-lose situation regardless. I would say my last straw was my dad had a paint stick and he was hitting Andre because he didn't put the garbage can back where he wanted it. And Andre and me were talking and Andre was laughing with me and my dad thought that Andre was laughing at him. So he just picked up a stick. He also threw a rock that he has like on his keychain. It's not huge, but it's like a weight for your keychain so your keys stay placed and like don't fall off the counter. It's a good 5 pounds, that rock. He threw that. He didn't care if it hit a window, hit him in the head, hit him in the face. He didn't care where it hit him. And that's just the state they're in. The tempers were high and thin, like Aaron was called a dumbass. Like it was just really weird situations that were not positive for any grandchild and their grandparent. And my parents were starting to get really, really petty. Like last year, my boys have the same birthday, March 10th. TJ and Owen share a birthday. And on their birthday, mind you, 10 is a big year for a kid. Double digits, at least, I don't know. I don't want to sound ungrateful, so I'm going to watch how I say this. But at least like a $20 Target gift card or a $10 gift card to Target, or you take them to get their favorite lunch and maybe like a helmet for their skateboard. I don't think I'm asking for a lot because we're not homeless. We're not poor, If we were on the side of the street, then yeah, he should be grateful, that you got him those socks because we don't have any, but we're not in that bracket, if that makes sense. So there are certain things that I consider appropriate and inappropriate for birthdays. And my mom was mad at me last year and we had already gotten into it verbally only. And my parents, when they can't get at me, because I guard my peace very heavy, even though I may be crying and always seem a mess, I will act like I don't care and shut down and block things out quickly to protect myself. And that's just how I do it. She couldn't get the response she wanted out of me. So for my kid's birthday, she bought TJ a toothbrush and then she bought Owen the toothpaste. And then she was petty enough to wrap it like they were supposed to be excited when they opened it. So there's 2 mouths, but we bought 1 toothbrush and 1 toothpaste. And I guess because they share the same birthday, it was a set. I don't know. But I know it pissed me off as a mom, and they know that's the only way to get under my skin is my kids. So I didn't like my kids being collateral damage that they couldn't get to me. So these are just instances with time that it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. I'm tired of being called a bitch in front of my kids. I'm tired of being called stupid in front of my kids. I'm tired of my kids having to choose who they listen to because sometimes grandparents and parents don't get along. I don't like, yes, I see the clean pile of laundry, but it's Saturday. I haven't got to it yet, but it is still in the hamper. And even if it wasn't in the hamper, even if I dumped it all over the couch, it's all over the couch on my side of the house. They have a completely separate living room and no one's over. There's no guest. So if I'm watching Law & Order and slowly folding my laundry, I do think as a mom, I should have that right. I don't think every time you walk past or if you use the garage, because if they use the front door, they'd never see my living room. But you chose to use the garage so you can see my area and you whisper under your breath, oh, you're so lazy. Well, I can never sit there with all that laundry. Are you taking a nap? You don't see all that laundry? It was just all the insecurities in your head. I was hearing them out loud. Like they'd walk on our side of the house and say stuff as they went through the rooms. Oh, y'all never got to leave y'all rooms like this. If you had a real mom, your rooms would be clean. It was just nasty and kind of a bully kind of situation. And I've been trying to just, take it with a grain of salt, keep my head on straight and not let it fester. And I think the only way for me not to let it fester and make me hate them and I hold the weight of hating them was for us to get out. And that wraps me back to saying why I have a subscribers tab now. I am a single mother of 5. I am already working 2 jobs plus social media. So if there is any way that I could up my income or up some sort of financial aspect on my bills, which I do religiously, then I think that I should try to pursue that. I do still have a Shopify store. I do still now have subscribers tab on Instagram that I am going to pay more attention to because now I have to. Some of those luxuries of, keeping Instagram a hobby or keeping my podcast a hobby is not a hobby anymore. It is a job. It is a full-time responsibility that I have to show up to with dedication because I don't have a choice. It's different when you split your bills 50-50. I don't have a 50-50 now. So to the person that said, oh, why are you doing a subscribers tab? That's why. And I chose the cheapest dollar amount that Instagram would let me. If Instagram offered a 99-cent one a month, I would have chose that. But the lowest one is $2.99. And you can check it if you want to. That's as low as they go. There are some people on Instagram, $15.99, $22.99, $30.99. I don't do that. I didn't even want to ask for the forks that came in the mail on Instagram. I do want to push to build more of a community for moms. Maybe something we can all have as a resource together as a community that we can all help each other. But for right now, with it just being me, I would like to show love less than hate and tell you guys that I really appreciate you guys subscribing. And that is where my life is at right now. We are still actively moving. No one is on a bed. We're all on the floor on mattresses. No one has a closet full of clothes. We're all still digging them out of garbage bags, but we have a roof. We have love. We have God, and we are trying to maneuver this new phase of life the best way we can. We don't have a TV. We all watched the Rugrats this morning on my tablet. And that was fun for us. It was a bonding moment, and it really humbled me to see that maybe we don't need so much stuff. Maybe we don't need all the things. We just need somewhere to sleep. We need food in our bellies, and we need clothes on our back. So for anyone that's helped in this process, I appreciate it. And that's honestly where we are. I have trial in a couple of hours, and with the same token of breath, I'm scared to ask God for anything else. But if he could guide me through this as well, I'd appreciate it. So in today's section of Without Judgment, in this subsection, we're going to start something new. It's going to be Call Me. You're physically calling me. You would call 321-300-6082. You're going to get a voicemail, and then you leave your situation, your comment, your thoughts on this line, and you would leave it as a voicemail message, and I will play it on the show and be able to have more of an interaction from you guys. I can hear your voice. I can also text. hear your pain. I could hear your concern. And you can also text if you don't want to leave a voicemail. And it can also always be anonymous. If you want to say your name, great. If you don't have to. So you can call or text the Call Me line, which is to me, Ariel, 321-300-6082. And that is something new that we are starting. But for today, I'm going to go ahead and read what we do have that's already in.
Ariel, what should I do? I'm going through a friendship breakup and no one told me friendship breakups hurt more than actual breakups. I never thought we would not be on speaking terms. We were like family. There was no big argument or fallout. She just stopped answering my calls. I think I'm looking for some sort of closure, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. I don't know what to do. How should I handle the situation? Because I'm really, really heartbroken.
That's really sad. I think everyone unintentionally looks for closure, so I don't think you should fault yourself or use it as a default. I think everyone that has some consistent routine looks for closure, looks for a way to wrap it up. If you even relate it to kids, when they finish elementary school, there's a graduation to wrap it up. High school, there's a graduation before the next phase of life. So I think with time and growing up, we've been taught to expect closure, whether that's good or bad, to give us the okay to move on. But sometimes you do have to move on without closure. If there wasn't a big argument or breakout, fallout, try to remember the last interaction you guys had. Try to maybe see if something you said, if you say you don't like her boyfriend or she was already acting weird before then, if you don't get the closure you're looking for, it might be found in your last interaction that you guys had together. And unfortunately, seasons of life change. It's not what we expect. It's not what we want, but sometimes it does change and we have to do the best that we can to move forward. I would just keep it classy. I wouldn't talk about this person online. I wouldn't bash them. I wouldn't, say, what kind of friend are you? Sometimes you just got to move accordingly and treat people how they treat you. You got to read the room. So if the room they've closed off and you're not allowed in, I would pray about it, actually. I'd probably shower her with love, shower yourself with love, and ask God to help you through this transitional phase. But there's nothing you can do to make someone your friend. And it hurts because they're considered family. I would try to think of the last interaction in person you guys had. And unfortunately, not every ending comes with closure. And we also have to be okay with that. And I hope you get through it, and I'm thinking of you. Is there another question?
Yes, this one, I'm going to keep it anonymous just because. How do I tell someone that I don't like going to their house because of the tension in their home?
Tension in their house, and she said somebody, so it's not a family member, probably a friend. But I don't like coming over because of the tension in your home. Me personally, I wouldn't even take that offensively. If my house triggers you or makes you have anxiety or feel uncomfortable, I am a big believer of go where you feel welcomed and go where you feel comfortable. I'm trying to get a sign made for my house that says we're in the season of life where my house is not always clean. My kitchen is not always clean and my floors are not always clean and my kids are loud. If at any time you feel otherwise or uncomfortable, remember where the door is. And I say that with love to everyone that comes in because it is a season in your life. Maybe she's going through something. Maybe her roommates are dirty. Maybe, her mom always comes over and she's chaotic and causes you stress. That's okay. Maybe you can offer to you guys meet up for lunch. And how would you say that nicely? Hey, bitch, your house gives me the hives. How would you? Definitely you need to meet outside of her house. I don't care if you go to lunch. I don't care if you go to Chick-fil-A and make it cheap. Somewhere easy. I don't care if you go to La Chinera, grab you a burger, meet in the park. Somewhere where you're not in the home that makes you feel uncomfortable. But I don't know. Maybe you got to do one of those classics. It's not you, it's me. Your house makes me feel uncomfortable. Or if you have a situation where she could see on you that you were uncomfortable, that I would use that as an example. I know there was one time that my dad went off on the handles, cursing and yelling, and my sister was there. And I told her, if you feel really uncomfortable, please tell me. I wouldn't be hurt if you don't come back over. So if my sister would have called me the next week and said, hey, Ariel, the tension in your home, I love you, but I don't really want to come over, I would not have held that against her. My biological mom barely comes to the house that I share with my parents because she doesn't want the tension to overflow. She doesn't want them to say something and she's in their house and it gets disrespectful. So out of a courtesy of who you live with, I'm not going to come by. But it doesn't mean that she hasn't met me up for lunch. It doesn't mean that I'm not welcome in her house. Maybe invite your friend over to your place. Maybe show her that there's no tension in your place and she can feel it for herself. And I think adult friends need to be okay with having boundaries as friends, and you don't need people in your house. I actually don't like people in my house, so I don't get offended when people don't come over. I'd rather meet you somewhere because then I can leave on my terms. It's hard for me to tell you to get out my house. I want to go to sleep. But yeah, I would bring it up with love, meet in a mutual space, and I would say be honest about it. And if she's a real friend, she should be okay with that. All right. And now we are done with that section without judgment. Remember to call in 321-300-6082 the next episode or the next couple of them. Maybe we'll try to see who can call in and we can get them to play live, and you can also text. The It's Above Me for this section is the housing issue. Since we're on this topic of what's new with me in my life, housing is a huge thing. When I moved into my apartment, it was income-based. Oh, keep it unlocked. When I moved into my apartment, it was income-based. And income-based just meaning that, you know, you could only make a certain amount. It's not that you had to be necessarily considered poor or without, but the apartment I lived in at the time was income-based. And I tried to go back to that income-based apartment. Now, as a blessing, I was happy that I didn't qualify, because that means, you know, in a short 3 years, my income did improve. My income did change. But at the same time, it made it harder because now I had to go into the general public looking for rentals, and that made it a little harder. A lot of these landlords that are fishing through applications only want you if you make like $110,000 a year. I don't make that. Or, you know, $100,000 a year. I don't make that. Or they're looking for stability because it's their home. They want to make sure that you can rent there for a year. So they're more likely to choose a family that had 2 working people, a husband and a wife, not just one single mom with 5 kids, because they got to see who would be moving in, dependence-wise and adult-wise. And they see how many applications I paid for. I only paid for 1, which shows them they only have 1 working parent or 1 working person in the home of 6 people. So yeah, a lot of the time we did get overlooked. I got overlooked 6 times before I got where we are at right now. And I only got where we're at right now because I kind of went to church on Sunday and I got a huge message. I don't even know if it was specifically for me, but that's how I took it in the pews. I don't know how everyone else took it. He just kept saying, stop showing your blessings in front of people that are hurting you. Like, stop trying to have everyone around you. God's trying to bless you, but he can't sometimes depending on your surroundings. Every house I had looked at, all 6 that I was denied for, I either brought my mom or my dad with me. The same people I know that are putting me out. And all you guys keep saying, oh, Ariel, why do you still love them? Why do you like them? Why are you around them? In my core, I want to have a good relationship with them. Like, in my core, I know when the time does come that they, you know, go on in life to the upper room or wherever people go when they die, I'm still gonna cry. I'm still gonna be sad. I want a better relationship with them. I just know I can't have that in that house. They're not making it easy for me, no, but I've never prayed for an easy life, ever. I've prayed for God to help me provide for my kids. I've prayed for God to help me, you know, mentally through this circumstance in life, but I have never gotten on my knees to God and asked for an easy life. So maybe this is my testimony. This is what I'm going through, but I'm trying to do it with love. But all 6 that I brought my parents to with me, I was denied for. And only one that I only went by myself. I didn't show the walkthrough on Instagram. I didn't even tell my sister where I was going. I took my kids in the middle of the night. We went and saw it. Then we got Wendy's. That is the house we got. And we got it in 72 hours. And every other house we got denied for. So I do think there's power in testimony. There's a lot of power in going to church because honestly, that one message on Sunday, I applied Monday. By Thursday, we had the keys. Was the fastest process for any of the houses. It was the only one that I wasn't overlooked for, and it's the only one I got the keys for. But the housing issue is really above me. It's really out of your control. I would say as a whole, I think the whole United States is struggling with housing. If you're not already locked in at a mortgage that's at 2.5%, you're kind of screwed. You're not going to see that again. I don't know if it's going to crash and go back, but I doubt it. But everyone else is at high interest rates. And if it's not a high interest rate, it's a high rent. Right now, my rent would be the same as a mortgage, but they don't trust me enough, the banks, to give me the mortgage that I need because I am one person. It's all depending on one person. The cards are laying just on me and it doesn't look reliable. So I got to wait a little bit more with my businesses. I got to wait a little bit more with my finances to show that it's all consistent and it won't just, go away, because I probably do look risky. I look risky to renters and I look risky to the bank, even though I have good credit and my money is there. They didn't like seeing there's only one working person in the house. They didn't. So if anyone's out there struggling with housing, I know it's not easy. I don't want you to think that, it'll never change. I would just say stay consistent. It was hard for me because my parents were just like, well, you're not looking hard enough, or you're not looking there. There were criterias, I didn't want to be in the ghetto. I didn't want to be where my kids would have bad schools. I didn't want to be where Walmart was 2 hours away. There were some essential things I needed, but I don't think I was asking for the moon and the stars. I didn't ask for a pool. I didn't ask for another acre backyard. I really just wanted a roof with doors and walls that we would be safe and hopefully happy in. So I hope you guys loved this episode. You get to hear and see, if you're on YouTube, where we are. My mental is still in progress. The move is still in progress, and the trial is still in progress. But I am steady. I am consistent, and I appreciate you guys for being here. Again, this is This Too Shall Pass. Find us wherever they are streaming podcasts, or here on YouTube, or down on Instagram. All of my contacts and where you can find me will be in the show notes, as well as Idea to Launch, that produces all of my episodes and helps us along the way. I love you so much. Take it one day at a time, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Make sure you follow the show for weekly episodes wherever podcasts are found so that you don't miss an episode. I'll see you next week.